I have an area of a tract of land that is called the North 17 rods of what? We'll say it's the northwest quarter of the southeast quarter of some section. Okay. And we want to know, what is this area in acres? Well, it might be tempting to say, well, let's convert it all to feet. No, let's don't convert it to feet. Let's do it the way it was designed back in the 17 and 1800s. So let's consider how many rods are in a chain. Well, one chain equals 4 rods, correct? Okay, one chain is 4 rods, and I want something in acres. Well, how do I get an acre with chains? Well, 1 acre equals 1 chain by 10 chains, or 10 square chains, right? Well, then that's not so hard now. Let's think about the size of this tract. Okay. We have a tract that, if this is the southeast quarter, which is what we're starting with right there, that southeast quarter would be, what, 40 chains by 40 chains. And I'm going to take the northwest quarter of that whole thing. So this is the southeast quarter. This is going to be the northwest quarter. So that makes that, what, 20 chains by 20 chains? Okay. So this is the north 17 rods of that. So if I blow this up, I'm going to be, what, 20 chains across here. And 17 chains is what? We said 17 chains, or 17 rods, excuse me. So 17 rods divided by 4 rods per chain. That comes out to be, what, 6 1/4, right? So, excuse me, 4 1/4. 16 would be 4 times 4 plus 1 rod. That'd be 1/4 of a chain, right? So this is going to be 4 1/4 chains. Okay. Well, that's pretty straightforward then, isn't it? So I can find out then that 20 chains by 4 1/4 chains, well, that's going to be 80. 4 times 20 is 80. 1/4 times 20 is 5. So now you have 85 square chains. Okay? Thus, 85 square chains divided by 10 square chains per acre is going to give me 8.5 acres, isn't it? Well, that was pretty straightforward, and I didn't even use feet. See that? So rather than use feet, we know that we could use feet, couldn't we? We know that, let's think about this. If 1 chain by 10 chains is 66 feet by 660 feet, that equals 43,560 square feet, doesn't it? But doesn't that make things harder than it has to be to convert into feet? Yes. So I would recommend always working the simplest unit possible. Our total area in this case was 8.5 acres, and we never worked